What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Styles After Dark. So, hi, my little stylers. What's up? My name is Sophia, and if you're new here, this is a podcast where I want people to feel seen, people to feel heard, and honestly, I'm here for a good time, but I'm also here to talk about things that I feel on a weekly, monthly, daily basis. Today's video is going to be on self-doubt. This was something I was struggling with, I feel like the past few weeks, the past month, which is funny because it kind of started in January and then yeah, I didn't have like the best January mentally, but that's okay. And that's what we're going to talk about today because I feel like a lot of us struggle with self-doubt. We need to talk about it. We do. But before we get into the video, you guys know it's time for the drink of the week. Today we have cherry cola from Olipop. I'm excited. I'm so parched. So I need some pop in my mouth. That was delicious. I'm gonna give that a 9 out of 10 today. I put some glasses on if you're watching the video of this podcast. You guys, I'm in a goofy mood today. We're gonna get down to business, but we're also gonna have fun while doing it. And I love when I feel this way for an episode because I'm one goofy little girl, okay? So I'm a goofy woman. Any chance I get to be goofy, I'm gonna be goofy, you know? Also, I totally changed my shirt. If you watch the intro, I put on a different black top. Who cares, Sophia? Um, yeah, I was doing like the pictures I post on Instagram for my podcast, and I just thought I was like posing for it, trying to be cute, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this whole like Facebook vibe of me like putting peace signs up and smiling at the camera and being like super fake. It just felt, which if you look at my other posts, like I'm smiling in them and like posing, but I don't know what it was. It just didn't feel right for this time. I don't know. Is this gonna change? Like, am I starting a new era of like having like being myself and not really wanting to like be a cute little sugar girly pop? I don't know. So mind your business if I start acting like a sugar girly pop again on my poses. Anyways, who cares? So the shades are coming off. Let's be cheesy and corny and let's just talk about what let's look up what self-doubt is on Google because that's my vibe. Just to like be professional, you know? Okay, a lack of faith in oneself. A feeling of doubt or uncertainty about one's abilities, actions plagued with by self-doubt. Um, in case you didn't know, it just kind of helps me like clarify that I'm not insane and we know what that means, or at least I know what that means, like word for word, for sure. Foshizo manizo. So, what is wrong with me? Basically, the past like month has been filled with conversations in my head, and I think when I feel self doubt, it's kind of like this little voice in my head that's talking to me, and it's just a negative voice to be honest with you, and it kind of sucks. And I don't know if that means I'm mentally ill. That's so dramatic. I'm not mentally ill just because I have self-doubt. But I guess what I noticed this time rather than other times is that I was actually implementing like positive reinforcement to those voices in my head telling me like how I'm not good enough, how I'll never achieve certain things, how I won't be consistent, just like really negative self talk, self doubt. And it's funny because the new year started, and I feel like everyone has this like really positive aura to them going into the new year. I feel like everyone, for the most part, feels good. But I'm not saying that there aren't people going through things. I'm sure there's plenty of people in the opposite boat. But for me, it was just funny because I guess like one of the things I was thinking was like, you always have that in the back of your mind, like, dang, it's January and this is how I'm feeling. Like, oh, guess we're off to a rough start. But I'm turning 25 this upcoming week. And I'd like to say that I've done some pretty good things to work on myself and work on how I handle things, work on how I handle normal things I experience on a weekly basis, like anxiety or daily basis, imposter syndrome, self doubt, stress. I'm a human being. I have a lot of goals. I have this little podcast going, my hairstylist business going. I'm into fashion, and I just want to be like this content creator who does it all. And social media just makes it really hard sometimes because I feel like I look at people who I follow who inspire me, or people who I've been following since, they had like regular followers, like maybe 800 to 4,000, 5,000 followers. And they just blow up all of a sudden. And it's so cool to see. And I love to see people win. I think it's so awesome when I see people like making their dreams come true and they finally like, I guess, like, start popping off, and I don't know, it just makes me happy because I guess, like, that's the goal sometimes for me. Like, I would love to be a little influencer and, like, pop off because that's, like, one of my dreams and always has been. And I know that for some other people, it could look different. Maybe whoever's listening to this is in college and they're still trying to figure it out, and maybe they're feeling a lot of self-doubt about if they're ever going to be able to figure out like which way to go, or maybe you just feel a little lost in what you're doing, and or it's just like sometimes you are doing what you want to do, but also you haven't like reached the top in a way. Like it's like we're climbing this mountain and we're like trying to get to the ultimate vision, the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal. And maybe that is just what's so hard is like enjoying the time, like the way there. Um, and it creates a lot of pressure and things like bad days, things like, you're not doing enough, or it can just be really challenging in the midst of all of accomplishing your goals and your dreams and where you're going in life. And I guess my point is while I was going through this self-doubt throughout the weeks, and I knew I was going through it, like I would catch myself doubting myself in my brain, in my head, that little negative voice. And I would be like, I was just fighting it. I was just like, no, that's not true. Like, there might be this voice telling you this, but that doesn't mean it's true. And you know what? I'm actually really proud of myself because I feel like no matter how hard we try to be positive, no matter how hard we try to be perfect, no matter how hard we try to not have anxiety, not deal with struggles in a daily life, like it's in us and it's a part of us. And I think that's what being a human being is that we're not capable of perfectionism. We're not capable of being positive every single living and waking moment. I think that it's possible to be a positive person, and I think it's possible to always be someone who tries to look at things in a better light, in a more positive way, really switching around the conversation or the situation. I do think that's possible, but that doesn't mean that we don't get affected. Um so yeah, and what really had me realizing while I was implementing growth in, changing my thinking when my self doubt came in was I think it's It's so corny, it's so cheesy. I hate when like that moment when you realize like you're a podcaster and like you're over here like being like trying to like inspire people to like be better and like feel seen and heard. Um it's embracing it. Like truly embracing that you're human and it's okay that that's happening, but do your best to counteract it, to fight it, and not let it tear you down, I guess is what I'm going at. I was like, whoa, hold on. It doesn't have to be this thing that like really sets us back, and kind of normalizing it and sitting in it and understanding that there are bad days and there are days where you're not going to maybe 100% fully believe in yourself, but learning how to cope with it and learning how to switch it around so that it doesn't eat you alive. And I think in the past, my doubts, my fears, my worries used to eat me alive. And again, not to say they don't, but I definitely feel like 25-year-old me is handling things better. One of the biggest things that I think can help this, um, hear me out, is really validating yourself and having that conversation, no matter how hard it is. I always say you're not gonna be perfect with this change and this growth and rewiring your thoughts right away. So be patient. It can take months to years, but it's really rewarding when you see that change and that growth. I used to be a really big person that would, and even recently, I would say like 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, I used to call my friends, my family members, the people I'm closest to validate those worries, to validate the anxiety, and to make me feel better about like the self-doubt I was having, and really talk to a friend about it. And I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't do that, because I do think that it's nice to be comforted and really lean on those around you when you're going through things. So take it very lightly, but I guess if you're trying to challenge yourself, that is one of the biggest ways, is validating yourself and trying to fight any doubts you have by yourself. um, my initial reaction would be to vent to probably my grandma and just be like, I've been feeling this way. I don't know why, but I just feel like just an example, I was really feeling overwhelmed by my social media and how good I am at it, if I'm even good at hair, if I'm even like, if I'm just cringy, like why, like if I'm worthy of a podcast, like all these, like if I'm ever even gonna reach what I desire to achieve in this life and if I'm capable of it. And I guess my initial reaction would be to call up my best friend Alexis or call my grandma Chuya and be like, like I feel this way and I'm feeling bummed about it, and just venting. And as that's what they're there for at times, I didn't want to do that. I don't know why, but I guess I was just like, no, like that's not true. And you're not, I'm not going to let that voice win anymore. I'm so sick of letting my thoughts overpower me and over control me. And I think I've just gotten so tired of calling people anytime something goes wrong, venting. And I'm not saying I'm never going to do it again. I'm not saying I haven't, but truly just sick of it in recent times. So I was just handling it on my own this time. And I thought that was a really good change in behavior when it comes to challenging those thoughts. If you're any way like me or similar like me in that way, that's definitely something that could help you overcome self-doubt in a positive way. And I just asked myself, like, if you can't even cheer yourself on, if you can't be there for yourself, if you can't believe in yourself, How do you expect others to, Sophia? How do you expect people to believe in you if you can't even believe in yourself? And why would you want, like, why wouldn't you want to believe in yourself? And truly asking myself that question on its own and building a stronger mindset for myself, building trust and building belief in myself, because at the end of the day, you only have yourself. And I don't want to put my trust and my confidence in other people, in my parents, in my grandma who supports my dreams and believes in me more than anyone I know. I want to believe in myself. And when I would go to the gym, I would like sometimes I just think because I'm listening to music. Sometimes I'm just on my phone and I'm looking at the people on social media. There's just so much that we're taking in on a daily basis when it comes to Instagram and TikTok. And I feel like a lot of people are like really trying to become influencers right now too. So that's like just a whole other thing is like I feel like I'm seeing more people now than ever trying to like make reels, daily vlogs, things like that. And so I don't know, it makes me question myself and it's so weird. It annoys me. Here's just an example. I looked at someone who like blew up and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so freaking cool." I found that little voice being like, "You're probably not capable of getting there because you're not pretty enough or you're not cool enough or maybe you're not that interesting enough or maybe your fashion isn't even that good." And when I'm and then I was like, "Whoa. Chill out. That's so wrong. You are totally capable of doing that. You are not going to think like that of yourself. It's just not your timing. And maybe it's not your timing. Be patient. Enjoy the process, Sophia. And you are going to make your dreams come true. And don't get discouraged just because other people might be in a different timeline and maybe they're achieving things. And that's okay. It's okay. And did that make me feel instantly better? Um, no. It didn't just like calm the nerves down right away. It didn't just make me feel completely 100% and totally fine. I still had like a little feeling of self-doubt, but I was noticing that I at least was trying to be positive and trying to convince myself that those thoughts are not true and I'm doing what I can in that moment to fight it, and that self doubt is normal. So many other people struggle with self doubt, and you're not the only one. And I want to tell you guys that. And I feel like it's important to talk about that because I've had conversations with my girlfriends about it. And it's so funny when we all just like get vulnerable and open up. You start to realize like so many people struggle with it, but it just feels so I don't wanna say it feels like you're the only one, but it can feel very isolating when that happens, when self-doubt comes into the picture. Sometimes, like, life it just comes in waves and you go through 2 weeks of funks or maybe you go through 3 weeks of you eating out and maybe you didn't save enough money and then you start self-doubting yourself if you're capable of being financially smart or maybe you said you were gonna go to the gym and get to a certain goal, but then you went 2 weeks without going, and now you're doubting if you're ever gonna be able to be someone that keeps a word to themselves or be able to have the goals or body that you want. And as much as that's relatable and we all go through it. Self doubt is bound to be a part of us. And if it's going to be a part of us, why not embrace it? Don't let it stop you from becoming who you want to be. And don't let it stop you from actually achieving things you can. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you can. do anything you set your mind to, and you can achieve anything you want. And I know I can as well. You just have to keep going. And sometimes, like, you just have to keep going. You just have to stay in your lane, keep putting in the work, keep showing up every day 100%. And when those thoughts come in, do your best to be positive about them. It was like last week that I went on a 4-mile run and I was like, no, like I could just feel the self doubt coming in. And I was just having this conversation back and forth about how I can't run 4 miles. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. You're going to run 4 miles and you're going to be mentally strong and you're going to do it. You're not going to let yourself. And sometimes you have to do that with yourself. Tough love. Do it, because if not, you're lazy. Okay. If you're not, you're a coward. If you're not, like, bye. And sometimes you have to push yourself even on the days that you don't want to. You have to win that fight. You have to go against self-doubt and fight against it. Give it like 2-3 weeks of you fighting and struggling, and I'm sure you're going to feel better. And I swear that's how it always happens, because now I have this ball of energy, and I know that it was just like a little earthquake for a second, but we're back to business, baby. We're back to balling. We're back to positivity. I'm back. That's gonna happen again, but I'm just gonna feel it when it does and continue to be myself and go towards my goals, even on the days I don't feel like it, because that is what's going to keep me on the top. And you just have to fight it. And it's this like really hard fight. Being human is just very tiring sometimes. But you know what? At the end of the day, we have to be grateful for what we do have. And we have to be grateful that we can feel. And we have to be grateful for the bad days. And be grateful that we have something to fight for, especially if you're in college. Now I'm getting all like simpy, especially if you have a career. All we can do is at least be grateful for what we do have, because others are less fortunate. And honestly, that's what keeps me going sometimes. So, thank you guys for listening. I will see you in another 2 weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and remember to be yourself, remember to be kind, and remember to have faith. And if you want to follow me on all my socials, I'll have the links below. And subscribe to this channel. Bye.